morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we're going to be looking for the very first time at a Centiskorch card. Although we are going to pop in a little bit of Sizzlepede, because there is one of those that I like rather a lot as well. Now, Centiskorch it's definitely in my top 4 Pokemon from Sword and Shield. It might be in my top 3 at the moment. I can't quite decide. But it's certainly one of my favourites from the new generation. And if we have a look at this card, it's starting to look pretty nice straight off the bat. We got 130 HP, which is about what we would expect from Stage 1s. It's up there with Naganadel, which is good, but it's significantly higher than stuff like Ninetales. So, yeah, we like this a lot. Retreat cost of 3 is disappointing because it's high but not high enough to use buff padding or Pokemaniac, so that's a little bit upsetting. And the weakness to water is honestly fine at the moment. We never know what's going to happen with the format in the future, but at the moment, water's a decent weakness to have. But you're a fire type, and fire type means that you do get to hit weakness against metal Pokemon like Lucario and Melmetal, as well as grass Pokemon like Celebi and Venusaur, but more importantly, it gives you access to Welder. Lets you attach 2 fire energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon and then draw 3 cards. Welder is awesome. Any Pokemon that can use Welder is instantly better. And of course, between Fire Crystal, Giant Hearth, Fiery Flint, you're not going to struggle searching out that energy. And we've even got Heat Factory Prism Star for a little bit of extra draw power. Suffice to say, it's a very nice time to be a fire Pokemon. Now, the main attractor for Centiskorch here is actually the first attack for 1 fire energy, Continuous Flame. For each fire energy attached to this Pokemon, discard the top card of your opponent's deck. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty gosh darn nice. Now it should be, because it is, fairly reminiscent of another card that we've had in the not too distant past. That was Moltres. You see, the Moltres, the one that came out in Team Up, let you discard all the fire energy attached to it, and for each fire energy you discarded the top card of your opponent's deck. That is to say that if you put 4 energy on Moltres and then discarded it all, you could discard 4 energy from the top of your opponent's deck, etc. The difference with Centiskorch here is that you don't have to discard the energy. So let's say, for argument's sake, you attach an energy and then Welder onto Centiskorch, which is a very easy thing to do in one turn. That's what Welder decks do. And seriously, right, Powpad's a big one, but we also see Cynthia and Caitlyn seeing a lot of play at the moment, and you can use Lusamine if you so wish. It's really not that difficult to use 5, 6, 7, 8 Welder in a game. So, okay, you're putting 3 energy on there in one turn, and then you're milling 3 cards from the top of your opponent's deck. But then you've still got the energy on there, which means next turn, if Centiskorch survives, you can either mill 3 cards from the top of your opponent's deck, or you can attach another energy and a second Welder, and now you've got 6 energy on, so you're milling the top 6 cards of your opponent's deck. And here's the amazing thing about this. It just keeps getting better. Because the more cards you mill from your opponent's deck, the fewer cards they've got, and the more likely it is that you're going to be discarding what they need. So if you're playing against a Welder deck and you mill a couple of Welders, and maybe even you mill a Powpad or 2, then all of a sudden your opponent is struggling to actually get their Welders rolling. Sure, if you mill their energy, they can get it back with Fire Crystal, but what if you start milling their Fire Crystals? If you can get this going early enough, and this will really, really snowball, right? By the time that you're discarding 9 or 12 cards from your opponent's deck a turn, they're basically done. Because you're going to be discarding so many cards that the chances of them actually drawing into what they need to get rolling is so slim, it's barely even worth mentioning it. And that's kind of the point here, ladies and gentlemen. It's not just about getting rolling. It's about getting rolling in a way that your opponent isn't able to stop you. That's what I love about this. The thing about Moltres was that you had to discard the energy. So it was difficult to keep it going. You could mill 3 cards and then the next turn 3 cards and then the next turn 3 cards, but you're constantly putting the investment in. What you can do with Centiskorch here is either keep putting the investment into Centiskorch while also continually milling more cards, or you put the investment into Centiskorch at first and then sit there milling with that while you build up other Pokemon in subsequent turns. And I think this is the best milling we've got at the moment. Now, the big competition in terms of milling is probably Rhydon. Rhydon, for 2 colourless energy, let you discard the top 5 cards of your opponent's deck if you've played Giovanni's Exile this turn. But the thing about Giovanni's Exile is it's not a draw card, so you can mill 5 cards if you're not playing a draw supporter. Here you're playing Welder, which is a draw card, and you're only milling 3, but then you're milling 6 and then you keep going. There's no upper limit, whereas Rhydon is limited to 5 per turn. I really like Centiskorch here. I think this could be the best milling deck we've got. And I mean that sincerely. I mean the gold standard of milling deck, since I've been playing, the gold standard of milling decks. Now when I say milling deck, I mean a deck which is actively trying to just discard all the cards from the top of your opponent's deck. I don't mean you're trying to stall them out while their deck runs out. I mean you're actively trying to discard. Was Durant. And Durant, if you had all 4 Durant in play, you would mill the top 4 cards of your opponent's deck. Now this probably won't get to discarding 4 immediately, like I said. Realistically, you're talking attachment for the turn plus a Welder, that's discarding the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. But anyone going to tell me you won't get there? Anyone going to tell me you're not going to get to the top 4 cards of your opponent's deck on the second turn? That you've only got 130 HP, and that's why I really lament the loss of buff padding. But having said that, we are getting Giant Charm in this set, which gives you an extra 30 HP, putting you up to 160. And if you can survive even 1 hit with this, you can really, really mill. And remember the deal with milling decks. You only need to mill a few important cards, and your opponent basically cannot hold up. Now, what is really upsetting, at the moment, we don't actually have Team Rocket's Handiwork, or a card like it. In mill decks, that's what we really want. Flip 2 coins for each head to discard the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck. That would really help, but we don't have anything like that. Now, the second attack here is fine, but it's underwhelming. Fire, treble colourless energy, 110 plus burn. I mean, even with the new burn rules, you do 100, then they take 20 damage from burn, and it's just... like, if there's one super annoying Pokemon you really want to get rid of, it's fine, but it's not a particularly great attack. You can use Welder and you can use triple acceleration energy here, just to get it going a bit faster. The energy isn't difficult to pay. I'm just not excited. I don't think it's enough damage. I don't think you do enough. Now, the Sizzlepede from the set is fairly underwhelming. 70 HP, 10 damage for 1 energy, 50 damage for 3 energy. It is not what we're looking for, ladies and gentlemen. But the Sizzlepede that came out in the V-Decks, I like way more. Now, it's a big gamble, I grant you, but firstly, the artwork is absolutely stunning. And secondly, fire, colourless energy, flip a coin till you get tails. This attack does 40 damage for each heads. And it's incredibly unreliable, and it's unlikely that you're ever going to actually get it working. But when I build decks, I love the idea of having a desperation play. I love the idea of just having a play where I am going to lose the game. I do not have anything that I can do. I might as well take a punt. And that's what this is. This is taking a punt. It is nothing more than going, I've lost the game, there is nothing I can do, might as well give it a go. It's unlikely to ever actually work, but if you've lost the game anyway, who cares? Like, if you're going to lose, why not just give it a go? Worst case scenario, it doesn't work. Okay, we'd lost the game anyway. But I like the idea of being able to maybe, just maybe, pull out a short notice win when I didn't think I'd be able to do so. I like those kind of things. And that's why I like this Sizzlepede. It's not because I actually think it's a great card that's going to win you game after game after game after game after game. No! Not even a little bit. But what I do think it will do is give you an option, give you an answer, give you an out, give you the opportunity for a really dumb win. And that makes me kind of happy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and give Centiskorch between 3 and 4 Wassies. I really do think it is a great option for mill decks. So there we go. But I'd like to know what you think. Do you think I'm getting a bit too excited because I love Centiskorch? I might be. Or do you think this could bring mill decks back to the fore? Go nuts in the comment section, but please remember the rules. Be nice, would you? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where you can find out about a whole bunch of games that don't even have any Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.